Meghan Markle's relationship with Queen Elizabeth II and the British royal family has been a subject of intense scrutiny and speculation, particularly in the final years of the Queen's life. While the term betrayal is a strong accusation, there were several actions and events involving Meghan that were perceived by some as disrespectful or harmful to the monarchy, especially during Queen Elizabeth's last year. The roots of this perceived betrayal can be traced back to Meghan and Prince Harry's decision to step back from their roles as senior royals in January 2020. This move, dubbed Megxit by the media, was seen by many as a rejection of the traditions and responsibilities that come with being part of the royal family. While the Queen publicly supported their decision, insiders suggested that she was deeply hurt and disappointed by their choice to distance themselves from the monarchy. In the months that followed, Meghan and Harry relocated to the United States, settling in California. This physical distance from the royal family was accompanied by a series of public statements and interviews that seemed to widen the rift between the Sussexes and the rest of the royal family. One of the most significant events that contributed to the perception of betrayal was the couple's interview with Oprah Winfrey in March 2021. During this televised conversation, Meghan made several shocking claims about her experiences within the royal family. She alleged that there were concerns and conversations about how dark her son Archie's skin might be before he was born, implying racism within the royal household. Meghan also spoke about feeling suicidal during her time as a working royal and claimed that she was denied help when she sought it. These revelations sent shockwaves through the monarchy and the public. While many sympathized with Meghan's struggles, others viewed her decision to air these grievances publicly as a betrayal of the royal family's tradition of maintaining a dignified silence on personal matters. The timing of the interview was particularly controversial as it aired while Prince Philip, the Queen's husband, was seriously ill in hospital. The Queen's response to the interview was characteristically measured. In a statement, she expressed that the issues raised, particularly that of race, were concerning and would be addressed privately by the family. However, the phrase "recollections" may vary in the statement suggested that the Queen and other family members might have a different perspective on the events described by Meghan and Harry. Throughout 2021 and into 2022, Meghan continued to make public statements that were seen by some as critical of the royal family. In a podcast series, she spoke about feeling objectified during her time as a working royal and hinted at difficulties she faced in adapting to royal protocols. While these comments were not direct criticisms of the Queen, they were perceived by many as indirect attacks on the institution she led. The announcement of Harry's memoir, Spare, in 2021 was another source of tension. Although the book was not released until after the Queen's passing, the anticipation of potentially damaging revelations added to the strain on the royal family during Elizabeth's final year. In June 2022, Meghan and Harry returned to the UK for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations. While their presence was seen as a positive step towards reconciliation, their limited role in the festivities and their early departure were noted by royal watchers. Some interpreted this as a sign that the rift between the Sussexes and the rest of the family remained unhealed. Throughout these events, Queen Elizabeth maintained a dignified silence on the personal aspects of the family drama. However, sources close to the palace suggested that she was deeply saddened by the ongoing tensions and the public nature of the disputes. The Queen's long-standing motto of "never complain, never explain" seemed to be at odds with Meghan and Harry's approach of openly discussing their grievances. The Queen's last year was also marked by her own health challenges and the death of Prince Philip in April 2021. During this difficult time, the monarch was said to be focused on duty and unity within the family. The ongoing drama surrounding Meghan and Harry was reportedly a source of stress during a period when the Queen was already dealing with personal loss and the challenges of leading the nation through the COVID-19 pandemic. In the weeks leading up to the Queen's death in September 2022, there were reports that Meghan and Harry were planning a return visit to the UK. However, their relationship with the royal family remained strained. When news broke of the Queen's declining health, Harry rushed to Scotland, but Meghan did not accompany him. This decision was interpreted by some as a sign of the ongoing tensions, while others saw it as a respectful choice to allow the immediate family to gather without additional complications. The Queen's passing marked the end of an era, and in the days that followed, there were signs of a potential thaw in the relationship between the Sussexes and the rest of the royal family. Harry and Meghan joined William and Kate in greeting mourners outside Windsor Castle, presenting a united front in their grief. However, the underlying tensions remained evident, with discussions about whether Harry would be allowed to wear his military uniform at the funeral, and speculation about the content of his upcoming memoir. In reflecting on Meghan's perceived betrayal of Queen Elizabeth, it's important to consider the broader context of the monarchy's evolution and the challenges faced by those marrying into the royal family. Meghan, as an American actress with a successful career and strong opinions, represented a significant departure from the traditional royal spouse. Her struggle to fit into the rigid structures and expectations of the monarchy was, in some ways, reminiscent of the challenges faced by Princess Diana decades earlier. However, unlike Diana, Meghan had the full support of her husband in deciding to step away from royal duties. This united front presented a unique challenge to the monarchy, as it wasn't just an individual struggling with the role, but a couple actively choosing to forge a different path. The concept of betrayal in this context is complex. From one perspective, Meghan's actions could be seen as a betrayal of the trust and opportunity given to her by the Queen and the institution of the monarchy. By publicly criticizing the family and the institution, she was breaking the unwritten code of silence that has long protected the royals from scrutiny. From another viewpoint, Meghan's actions could be interpreted as a necessary disruption of an outdated system. Her willingness to speak out about her experiences, including issues of racial insensitivity and mental health struggles, could be seen as an attempt to force the monarchy to confront and address its shortcomings. The impact of these events on Queen Elizabeth in her final year was undoubtedly significant. As the head of both the nation and her family, the Queen had always sought to balance her public role with her private familial relationships. The public airing of grievances by Meghan and Harry challenged this balance, forcing the Queen to navigate a family crisis in the public eye. Moreover, the allegations made by Meghan and Harry touched on issues that were particularly sensitive for the Queen. The suggestion of racism within the royal family was especially troubling, given the Queen's role as head of the Commonwealth, a diverse group of nations with strong ties to Britain's colonial past. The Queen had long been an advocate for unity and understanding among different cultures, and the implication that her own family harbored racist attitudes was likely deeply distressing to her. The timing of these events, coinciding with the Queen's own health issues and the loss of her husband, added an extra layer of poignancy to the situation. In her final year, where she might have hoped to enjoy the support and unity of her family, the Queen instead found herself at the center of a public family drama. Despite these challenges, Queen Elizabeth maintained her characteristic poise and dedication to duty throughout her final year. She continued to carry out her royal responsibilities, adapting to virtual engagements during the pandemic, and returning to in-person events when possible. Her steadfast commitment to her role, even in the face of personal difficulties, stood in stark contrast to the actions of Meghan and Harry, who had chosen to step away from their royal duties. The Queen's handling of the situation also demonstrated her political acumen and her ability to adapt to changing circumstances. While she may have been personally hurt by Meghan and Harry's actions, her public responses were measured and focused on reconciliation. This approach helped to mitigate some of the damage to the monarchy's reputation and kept the door open for future healing within the family. As we consider the legacy of Queen Elizabeth II and the challenges faced by the monarchy in her final years, the situation with Meghan Markle serves as a complex case study in the tensions between tradition and modernization, privacy and transparency, and individual desires versus institutional needs. The perceived betrayal by Meghan was not a single act, but rather a series of decisions and statements that collectively challenged the norms and expectations of royal life. Whether these actions truly constituted a betrayal of Queen Elizabeth is a matter of perspective. What is clear is that they had a significant impact on the Queen's final year, adding personal and institutional stress during a time of global uncertainty and change. In the end, Queen Elizabeth's response to these challenges demonstrated the qualities that defined her long reign: resilience, diplomacy, and an unwavering commitment to duty. While the full impact of Meghan and Harry's actions on the monarchy may not be fully understood for years to come, the Queen's handling of the situation in her final year provided a masterclass in leadership and grace under pressure. As the royal family moves forward under the reign of King Charles III, the lessons learned from this period will undoubtedly shape the monarchy's approach to managing family dynamics, public perception, and the balance between tradition and modernization. The legacy of Queen Elizabeth II, including her handling of the challenges presented by Meghan Markle in her final year, will continue to influence the British monarchy for generations to come.